Okay. So the nature of Little U is a micro school consultancy. So it gives you the idea that we are a very small school and that we also offer services to people who want to know about how to grow a small school. Besides our cool tea, we offer a suite of programs for families with preschoolers all the way to adults interested to upskill themselves. So in a nutshell, what we do is education as families and education as transformational tools to understand ourselves. At Little U, we grow competencies for whole families under our micro school, the Learnery. Each member of the family affects the other. So even if I work with a child, I think about the whole family who's being affected. If I work with the adult, I think about the whole family that's being affected. We've worked with moms, dads, kids, and all of them. And I tell you, every time you work with one member of the family, you have to be very aware of the relationship and the system behind it. All right. So in that sense, we are very for family, we're very for children, and the design of the program within Little U is actually for long term, and it's lateral minded, which means that we see links and we see influences in every decision making. All right. So just to sum up, a competency is defined as mastery of learning by students through their demonstration of knowledge, attitude, value, skills, and behavior. The two keywords you want is mastery and demonstration. All right. So every program at Little U has a CBE framework and has its own stated objectives. We have a preschool, we have primary and secondary school community, and these are objectives. We also have a parents-only community and a guest speaker series for advanced tweens. I'm moving very fast because these are slides that you can find on the event page tab that I've put up, all right? And also, these are our teen programs. The boutique is foundational academic thinking. Lad Studio is creative competencies. So these are the things that we teach as well. Teen groups, we teach civic agency, social awareness, and work readiness. And this is very suitable for highly self-directed learners, the kind of people who are like, don't tell me what to do, I want to do it. Okay, you go do it. All right. And we have Observer, which is professional educators track, and we offer personalized education approaches, which is very different from personalized learning. So if you've studied in NIE, you've heard about personalized learning, but I don't think anybody out there will teach you personalized education. It's a whole new ball game. Okay, so if you're interested, do get in touch. Again, these slides are all up on the Facebook event page. So if you want to look at it close up, please just go have a look at that. We're going to the meat of our topic tonight, which is CBE. Competency-based education for higher learning is it's not a new thing, but it is a thing, and it's something that Singapore is moving towards. The reason why I don't say it's a new thing, it's because its roots go back all the way to apprenticeship, you know, in the Middle Ages. All right, it's just apprenticeship. It's learning from masters rather than learning off textbooks, all right? And it's learning for mastery's sake and not learning for a single grade. So it's very interesting that CBE, although it's a very old concept, is taking off in a very new way. So perhaps one thing I would like to challenge all of you is to have a look at let me see, at the colleges that have currently accepted the mastery transcript, which is what the Little U transcript is based off. So if you have a look at the group chat, I have put in a link there, MTC College Acceptances. So Joan, you just joined, yeah. So if you have a look at that link that I just sent, and you just click anything, you know, click Harvard, click Princeton, you know, just click Singapore even. Tell me that you see something familiar, all right? Okay, so Joan, if you just joined, I put in a link here, MTC College Acceptances. So for those of you who are looking at the link now, you should pop up to a page that shows you, hey, this transcript is accepted at all these amazing universities. I'm just going to move on very quickly because the universities don't interest me, all right? I'm just wanting to tell you that CBE is accepted. And it is a thing right now in the education landscape because it is very exciting for candidates, and it's exciting for higher institutes and it's exciting for high schoolers because it is based off real world application, real world problem solving. And I think that is something that we often hear as educators is like, hey, actually, what am I learning in school and what has it got to do with real life? Well, CBE actually tests you on real life knowledge. So which means that your application for academics and your application for vocational is as respectable. There is no academic being more important than vocational, and there's nothing as vocational being more important than academic. It's whatever works for the teens, as long as she's able to apply it, able to master skills and find meaningful work or like a meaningful course next time to understand herself. That's it. So it's a very, very nice and gentle way to think about learning. It's a very original way to also accept that actually learning is lifelong. It's true. And the evidence of learning can be found in so many ways. Okay, so some principles about CBE that you want to understand is at Little U, under the Mastery Transcript Consortium, there's one record to rule them all. So instead of a few levels from O level to A level to JC, you just focus on one transcript for any of these purposes. You don't have to go from level to level. You just decide, this is where I want to go and this is where I'm going to aim towards. And everybody can learn together. Okay, so the lowest graduate level is a high school diploma, like your O levels, and the highest graduate level is a work resume. But since SG is heavily reliant on certs, the transcript allows you to university admissions as well. So you think about one key, a master key that can open many doors. You just decide how far you want to go. Okay, so competency is about skills. At a CBE school, we look at skills and then we approach teaching and learning through the lens. Cognitive skills and technical skills are sought after, okay? Some of these skills are academic, vocational, or mixed. So what does that mean? It just means that if your kid has an interest, maybe in basketball, he can go and train to be a competitive basketballer, but he should also train himself cognitively, like what is happening in the sports science of basketball. So his project actually is a bit more holistic, which is very fresh because in schools, you can't really be graded for basketball and then, get that admitted for university. But at a CBE school, you can. I can do basketball and I will show you the science of it. That's very exciting. So looking at how skills are learned, since they unlearn in a time bubble, like you can't be a basketball champion within like 3 to 4 sessions in class, right? It is actually taught and mastered according to the different skills that you want to master. So maybe your son wants to do basketball and he also wants to do like maybe bio. The bio things he can learn off the textbook maybe, but the basketball one he has to go on longer. So there's different timelines for the different interests, and both are okay. They're equally just as good. All right. So at CBE school, students must show evidence of mastery before they move on to something else. So for teens, the skills to master are set with their mentors and are scaled down to an appropriate pace and age. So maybe your son likes basketball. We're going to look for a basketball mentor, and we're going to look for a sports science mentor, and we're going to look for a writing mentor for him to come up with an appropriate project. But it's kind of ridiculous to expect him to become a national player from zero to hero. So we'll say, so the experts will help him see, hey, you know what, we like what you're doing, and these are the skills that is good for your next step ahead. And capturing that in his project will gain him a credit. And that will be something that we will call, competency-based project, because it's something that number one, he's interested in, and number two, that he finds it meaningful, and number three, he has expert mentoring, and number four, there's evidence of skills learned. So just remember, mastery, demonstration. As long as there's mastery of skills and it demonstrates something and it's meaningful to the learner and it can bring him somewhere, it's all good. All right. So learning is mixed age, pace-based, and work with mentors. You may or may not need to go for class. So if your project is about learning hospitality through exploration of an Airbnb trail, I'll probably check in with you online while you're in Hawaii, because that's probably where, you have money maybe and you can go somewhere. Okay, so just to remind you, a CBE project is so flexible that it really doesn't care about your socioeconomic status as well. All right. So you can be somebody who's like working a part-time job at the weekends and still do something meaningful and get the experience. Or you can be somebody who's high flyer. There's hardly any competition because everybody's project is so different and so customized to themselves. Okay, so it's personalized to the learner. There's no one way to enter or exit a CBE project. A student may join any of the 3 teen programs that we have as a start. And a full teen program experience at Little U is only 3 days, 3 mornings a week, because we want the rest of the time for research, for rest, for play. I think schools are chock full with activities for kids, and I'm not sure if that's good for their bodies. All right, so even if they're teens, yes, they can take hard work, but it's nice to just balance out the work. Your teen may come for 0, 1, or all classes, as long as discussed with the Little U mentor. Why is it 0 classes? Like I said before, like some of their projects may not even need a class to happen. They may need to be outside in the field, at a field work, okay? So there's flexibility in a CBE pathway to decompress, for teens to rest, play, and research. But what we do expect is for students to check in with us. And for students who have suffered school refusals, we will work with the student and parents in private. Okay, there is no punishment for attendance or late work. Okay, a CBE school doesn't look at a student that way. A mastery is based on whether you can achieve the skills. So if you cannot finish your work on time, it just means you submit it later when you can. So I have students who are supposed to do an event and she can't finish it on time. I say, hey, it's okay. Let's look for another date. But you have to know why. You have to think of a strategy and what are the skills that you're missing and you need to fill in the gap. Is it time management skill, or is it a skill that is based on maybe an event planning cognitive skills that you may not be aware of. So let's go and look at that. So instead of punishing a student for saying you don't hand in a work or I'm going to deduct marks, we look at what the work is missing and how we can fill in the gap. Okay, while classroom attendance has 0 bearings, the classes that we do run at Little U will need full attendance for you to learn the skills by instructors. So in that sense, we will offer instructor-led classes. We also offer non-instructor-led classes. I let the child decide. I have a student who only joins us once a week and she doesn't want something that is like fully requiring attendance, and that's fine. But I have students who don't know what to do and they want to do something that is, you know, attendance-based and led by an instructor because they just need that guidance, and that's perfectly fine. So again, we work with what you're comfortable with, okay? What in terms of discipline, is there discipline? Yes, but we really focus on natural consequences more because it's closer to the real world's way of learning. So if you can't get that project going, you just have to accept that, hey, maybe this is not working out. Find out why and then like amend it, and also learn to take responsibility for your choices. Okay, there are no exams. CBE doesn't require exams of the student. Unless the student is keen. So if the student's project is economics and the best way to show evidence of that economics work is through an economics exam, the student will choose to take the economics exam, okay? So we won't prepare you for the exam. The students will have to prepare himself or herself, and we can look for an economics mentor, but you have to take the exam outside. But the idea is, even with the exam, it is subservient to your skills. You're not relying on the exam to prove your worth. The exam is just a way to show evidence of your mastery. All right, so there's a difference. So with the MTC learning record, which is what we do, you can pair exam certs with your portfolio. I'm going to show you another link now, which is the MTC record and the MTC member schools, okay? So these 2 links that you will see in the Zoom chat, the member schools, if you click on it, you would see the list of CBE schools under mastery. Little U is one of them. If you click on like, hey, I want to check out Singapore, I want to check out Jordan, I want to check out Australia, you can see the list of schools there. It's very exciting. A lot of schools are believing that the way to teach students is through apprenticeship and through mastery rather than through grades, okay? And then also the MTC record, the link that I just sent, is an example of what your cert looks like. I know Singaporeans damn love a cert, okay? So there is a cert, but it looks very different because it looks at the skills that you achieve rather than whether you got A for science or B for English. With the skills that you achieve, there's evidence of your project at the site, okay? I can walk you through that later, but let me finish this, okay? So at Little U, how do we do this? If you join Little U, it's very simple. You see this engine, okay? We call this a little U engine where there are 4 competencies. The competencies are the skills you have to learn: critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. These are skills that we did not come up with ourselves. It's been through the 80s in America. There was a group of educators. I mean, the government just say, what's going to be the skill in the 21st century? I want to get the best thinkers, and they came up with this, all right? So Bill Gates was one of them, you know, and one of the experts as well. So now in the 21st century, you would see all these names, all these words, right? It's because of that group of experts in the 80s. And it did trickle down to Singapore, because Singapore also wanted to be part of it, we want to be relevant. So we have the 21st century, like Swiss roll. But I don't know, we add a lot of things into the MOE stuff, right? Which is not a bad thing as long as you can get it. It's just that it can be a bit too much. So at Little U, we pare it down to just 4 big competencies. And in each competency, there is 4 criteria. So reason, relevance, precision, fairness are criteria, okay? So under critical thinking, you have to do 4 projects to help you understand critical thinking. A project on reasoning, a project on relevance, a project on precision, and a project on fairness. You can blend the projects, but it will be a mega project, okay? So I'll give you an example. If I want to do something on fairness, maybe I'll go and write a 3,000-word essay on debating the value of abortion or position of abortion. I think that's pretty good, all right, for a teenager, right? But maybe precision, I want to go and do something else. How would I show mastery of precision? Maybe I want to do a sports and then learn the sports science behind it, and then be a fantastic badminton player as a result of my research. There's precision, and the badminton coach and the audiences can see it. Yay, that's really good. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is your criteria is so important to the 21st century, but yet it's so flexible in that you can prove your worth in so many different ways. Okay, so on the left side, this is how we do it. There is 16 projects that your teen will have to learn at Little U. All right, so or will have to create. All right, and each project will will grow their criteria and the project skills, and it's a full portfolio experience. On the right side, you would see that actually the idea is, when you do interest-based topics and when you do CBE, right, you actually receive recognition through understanding yourself. That's also very fresh, right? A lot of times you're doing something that other people want you to do, and you're hoping that you be recognized and be very, you know, and you get validation for what they're happy with. But it's really topsy-turvy, because you never know what people are happy with you and why, right? Why not just be happy with yourself? Why not just find out what you like and be rewarded for it? Okay, so we think that CBE is wonderful because at the end of the day, your 16 projects will reveal a lot about you, and you can find the right course or work that fits you, not the other way around. So if your daughter really enjoys music and half of her projects are all about music, hey, guess what? You would be able to say, actually, a music course would really suit you. We've got money. You want to go Berkeley? Let's go knock down doors. Or let's go LaSalle, you know? And it really shortens the time, because a lot of young people I see who are 19 to 21, they're so lost. They don't know what they want, and they are stuck in a course that they didn't choose because their parents choose. Hey, what's the point? That's really expensive, right? So in a CBE school, the student gets to decide, the student gets to learn about themselves, and I think it's a win-win situation. Okay, so I'm going to give you a fictitious student's journey, okay, X. And I'm just going to let you read for 1 or 2 minutes, okay? Okay, so I'm assuming all of you are quite fast readers and that you're not reading off a small phone, but reading at a big laptop, which is what I'm doing now because my eyes hurt, right? I can't see small things. All right, so basically, and this is an example of a student X who starts Little U and she's 14 this July, and she ends when she's 17. All right, it is not set in stone. Your teen can start at 13, can start at 15. It doesn't matter as long as they finish the projects, and it's according to their own time. What I love about CBE is it's not time sensitive. If you want to and finish all 16 within 2 years and burn yourself out, also can, as long as you know yourself, okay? So because of that, it's can be expensive or it can be non-expensive. You decide the budget, you decide the time, And then you decide just how far you want to go. What's most important is you have a really fun time knowing yourself. You give your brain a good challenge, you give your body a good challenge, and you get rewarded for it. You get rewarded for being smart about yourself and being smart about who you are and being smart about how you're going to find help for it along the way. And what's very fun about this student X is that she drops things that she doesn't want to do. And then suddenly in 2026, she decided to go on a long break, which is fine. I've got students that goes like, okay, bye-bye, I'm going off for a holiday with my student, with my family for 2 weeks, and that's in the middle of term. I say, okay, that's fine, check in when you're back. There's no need to ask permission, no need to take MC, no need to write letters to us. It's a bit ridiculous, okay? I think this generation of young people really do need to find themselves, really, really do need a voice. And it's very important we support them. I'm not saying that we turn them bratty. I don't believe in that. But I think that with certain boundaries and with a lot more flexibility, I think they have enough breathing room to really discover themselves. And that's what I love about CBE. It's that breathing space and also that rigor, okay? Just to tell you, the funny thing about X, I'm sure you didn't see this coming. After she graduates, she changes her mind about uni. Okay, this is I think this is quite funny. X's parents are forever worried about her future, but they understand she has surpassed expectations. And then, it's the parents that want her to go uni instead of her. I hope this sort of like resonates with all of us as parents, that we do have expectations of our children. It's not wrong, right? It's responsible, right? But our children also have expectations that may not resonate with us as well. I feel that there is a certain leeway and a certain grace when we allow ourselves to wait upon them, just as they always wait for us as well, right? So I think that as your teen grows up, into through these adolescent years, you will struggle. There'll be a lot of tension because who you want them to be may not be what they see themselves as, right? So at Little U, we really want to try to hold space for not just the teen, but for the family, okay? Now, forget X. Why don't we look at some current students' works, okay? I'm going to send you in the Zoom right now. Works by 4 students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. Vashini, Hope, Emma, Clara, Silla. Okay. They have written essays. That's their product. All right. Because essays are 4 of them are in the boutique with me doing essay writing, hence it's essay. But for Silla, he's in the teen groups. He gets to decide what his product is, and he also wants to write an essay. Except he wants to write an essay about the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I thought, hey, that's really good. So feel free, click open and to read any of them and see if you get a glimpse of what a CBE project looks like. Okay, I'm going to give you about 2-3 minutes to look at that. So I hope you're liking the essays as you're reading. I'm sorry, I'm going to speed through as you're reading, and I'm going to move on. Okay, so one day, I hope Little U becomes a student-centric, youth-driven micro school. And would your teen like to be a part of it? Here are like 2 pictures of our teens. Leanne, this is Leanne at her product design showcase at Lad Studio. Leanne started Little U at 15. She's now 18. She has Down syndrome. And she is very creative. We're hoping to work with her towards a higher education pathway, or wherever she decides. She's just so talented, and I love it at CBE. We get to do what she likes, and she gets to try out things that we hope that she would develop her skills in. And it's been a rigorous but yet honoring way of teaching her as well. And on the right is Yael. Yael started Little U since he was 13. He's now 17 years old, and now he runs the guest speaker series program. Our youth are very dynamic. They are capable of leadership as long as we mentor them well, and they're capable of running, their school, and that's something I hope to see more in Singapore. Democratic schools, youth-driven schools, because what's a school if we don't serve the young people and listen to them, right? So I hope that is something that you would like for your teen as well. But it can get messy. I'm just going to tell you now, it can get messy. Sometimes they don't want to show up. Sometimes they don't want to do work. Sometimes they forget. But hey, we were all young once, and I think it's just about giving people space and just trying it again. Okay. Right. Continue. Our little you values ensures that your team will be safe and respected while learning with us. Actually, our values are designed around trauma-informed care. It's rooted in child safety. It's built upon secure attachment, and it's expressed in interest-based learning. So what little you leaders are committed to training ourselves in is this whole bunch of things. And it's going to take us a few years, but we're committed to it because we think it's very important that actually, regardless of any age, everybody should feel safe and respected while learning. All right. We don't shout and scold people for, I mean, we just don't do that. I don't think it's wise to do that. I usually, if there's a discipline issue, I will talk to the parents first because I want to find out what's going on behind that, right? So rest assured that if your teens have come from a place where learning might have been frightful and unsafe, we'll do our best to make sure they feel belong or they feel safe, okay? Our little U CBE training is also very high quality. What learners experience will be these things. These are all very education jargon. If you're not in education, it's okay. Just know that we really put ourselves out there trying to make sure that whatever your kid will be learning is high quality, okay? And so what we're committed to training ourselves are all these strategies as well. This is very useful if you're an educator to take note because I don't think any curriculum consultant or professor needs to be better informed than teachers. I think teachers can learn by themselves as well. The thing with teachers in the current system is they don't have time, all right? So we stress a lot on leisure time as well for teachers. So we have a school calendar that goes 4+2, 4+2, which is 4 months of term and 2 months of break. 4 months of term and 2 months of break so that teachers and their families can rest, okay? We have expert advisors on board Little U. If you've seen this person's face, Sharon used to be a NMP and she's doing something wonderful at Common Ground right now. Dr. Jason Tan is an associate professor at NIE and he's one of our advisors whom I like to trade notes with. And we also have Mark Lim, who is a director of the Social Quotient, and he oversees our trauma-informed education training, okay? And lastly, we do have partners that like us. So we hope that the sign of partners show you that, Little U is getting their name out there and they are good people that trust us and want to work with us, okay? And it's very exciting because I think education in Singapore is moving towards a more democratic position where people are finding their voices and wanting alternative approaches. I think Little U is one of the most outspoken groups out there on alternative education simply because I am loud. I hope to see more people doing that too. Okay.